Welcome to the Organizedpreneur Podcast, where we dive deep into the art of launching and streamlining your podcast and business for growth. I'm your host, Aldreama Harper. With more than 2 decades of experience in the organizing space, transforming chaos into order and launching 3 podcasts, I decided to combine those experiences to share my insider tips and proven strategies so that you can avoid the pitfalls I've had to overcome. So, whether you're just starting out or looking to enhance your existing endeavor, you'll get the knowledge, the tools, and the strategies to work more efficiently when launching your business or your podcast. You ready? Let's go. Businesses with systems are 2 to 3 times more likely to scale successfully. That's by Salesforce. More likely to scale successfully when you have systems. That's the importance of systems, right? Um, and this applies to podcasting, business, whatever, you're endeavoring to do. And so, because when it comes to podcasting, it increases your episode frequency, it increases your ability to manage multiple shows if that's what you do, right? You may be doing this for someone else. You may be managing multiple podcasting shows for yourself. Like, that's highly possible. So anyway, but here's one from Buzzsprout, which was kind of surprising. It said that 54% of podcast creators spend 1 to 3 hours producing each episode. Like, that's like insane. That's like too long. My goodness, 1 to 3 hours? That's like insanical. And so I spend 30 minutes producing my podcast, 30 minutes tops. Okay. So I said that because I was really kind of surprised about that based on all of the tools and platforms that's out there that can help you automate stuff and have systems around stuff. But okay. So, but that was very interesting to me, right? But the thing about systems is that um you all know, systems save you time, energy, and money, right? Save yourself time, energy, and money. I forgot the S. But anyway, save yourself. That's what the second S stands for. Man, okay. Anyway, I digress. So there's benefits in systems. That's my point. I mean, it reduces decision fatigue. Like, if you got a lot of things going on and you're trying to make decisions about stuff, ah, it's I mean, that's just one of the things that systems, will help you to do. But really, the power of systems lie in its ability to create efficiency, consistency, scalability, and creativity. Okay, those are the 4 things. That's what I'm going to be talking about. Okay. It reduces errors and it frees up your time, but it allows for those 4 main areas. It impacts those 4 main areas. It improves those areas. So let's talk about creativity. I mean, efficiency. We'll talk about 4, but let's start with efficiency. So systems, when you have automation and automating repetitive tasks. So when you have a podcast, you're going to have things that you do over and over and over, right? Systems will help you be more efficient, right? Systems can automate those repetitive tasks like scheduling the interviews. If you do interview podcasts, sending reminders, publishing episodes, right? All of that is important even in podcasting, not just business, but podcasting, which, if you look at podcasting as a part of your business, you'll understand that they're not 2 separate things, right? So, but having systems in place for those type of things is going to significantly improve your efficiency. Like, you won't be spending 1 to 3 hours producing an episode. Okay. So you got to have automated workflows as well as SOPs, standard operating procedures. You want to document those procedures so that each task will be completed consistently and efficiently and nothing is falling through the cracks. Okay. And so you want to have your step-by-step instructions. You want to create some type of a, spreadsheet or cheat sheet or what have you, so that you don't fall into that decision-making fatigue, right? So that you will minimize errors, right? And so it helps you in that area. So I use Notion. I love Notion. I think it's Notion.i or no, I know it's Notion. You can Google it. But that is where I have all of my little documentation, my workflows, and all of that. And so it's free, but you got to do the work, right? You got to do the work. I never forget and I've shared this many times, when I first started my organizing business, I didn't have all of my systems in place and I was doing everything. I had created a job for myself. Okay. And so because I didn't have the systems in place, I learned from it, right? Because there was things that I was doing, there were repeated tasks that I was doing. So I learned from it and I started teaching it because I was an organizer. Hello, right? But so yeah, you want to be efficient. Number two, you want to be consistent. It increases consistency. Systems help you to create and maintain a consistency across the quality of your episodes. They're consistent when you have systems, when you have templates for your show notes, when you know what settings are going to, for your audio, when you are editing, when you know what promotional materials you're going to have um, for your brand, right? This ensures that each episode meets the same standard. So you want to use systems to standardize your brand communication. This ensures that your voice remains consistent. Okay. So consistency is number two. Scalability, number three. Scalability. So I was just talking about, when I was in my organizing business, I needed to scale. And when I did scale, or when I attempted to scale, I didn't have my systems in place. And so therefore I was still doing the same thing over and over and over, even when I tried to delegate it to someone or hire someone, and therefore I was stuck. So I found out the hard way the importance of scalability. And a well-defined system makes it easier to delegate tasks, to hire, things out, to hire a freelancer, right? Because when you have clear guidelines and procedures established, it enables them to take over with the, specific parts, whatever you delegate, of the production process without compromising quality. Without compromising quality. I learned it the hard way. And then as your podcast grows, your systems can handle the increased workloads. I couldn't handle the increased workloads in my business because I was doing everything. I'm only one person. But when you have systems in place, as your podcast grows, your systems can handle the increased workload without requiring a proportional increase in time and effort. You're not all over the place, like trying to figure this out, all of that kind of stuff. And so you have a limited amount of time to focus on certain things. So your work is divided, in other words. Okay. So when you have systems in place, you can handle the growth. You can manage the growth. Okay. It allows you, the podcaster, to expand your reach and impact more efficiently. Okay. So that is scalability. Last one, creativity. Man, I tell you, that really bothers me about that statistic about 1 to 3 hours, right? Because again, it impacts all, those four areas. And that's not the only areas it impacts now. But I just wanted to give you the primary areas that's really important to your business, right? And so the last one is creativity. You are the creator of your podcast. Especially if you're doing um, solo episodes, and you're doing this, incorporating this into your business and things like that, you are the creator of that. When you don't have the bandwidth, or the brain power for the creative process, you just might as well stop. Okay. And so when you have systems in place, by automating the routine tasks and systems and all that, it frees up your time for those creative endeavors, developing new content, engaging with your audience, and improving your overall podcast experience with the listeners, right? You got to have that bandwidth. You got to have the capability, right? So you got to have systems in place. And so with more time and more mental bandwidth available, podcasters can experiment with new formats and themes and strategies, because now you have the bandwidth to think about those things, right? You can think about, innovation. You think about ways to keep your podcast fresh, make it pop, make it more engaging. And so these are the areas, these are the areas that's extremely important, right? Because without it, you're not going to grow. Your podcast is not going to grow. Your business is not going to grow. Okay. So I encourage you to really, I don't want you to be one of those podcasters that spend 1 to 3 hours producing each episode. That's ridiculous. That is ridiculous. With all of the platforms, with all of the processes out there, you know, that you definitely want to make sure that you put these things in place. Okay. So, yeah, that's what I want to talk about today. You can tell I feel passionate about that. If you need some help, if you need to figure out how to go from where you are now and fill in the gap in terms of where you're trying to go, then get on a call with me. All right. And today's scripture comes from Hebrews 11:1. Now faith is confidence in what we hope for and assurance about what we do not see. Oh my, that is faith in action. So thanks for tuning in. And until next time, keep pursuing your entrepreneurial dreams with passion and purpose. So, you ready? Let's go.